So hello and good morning students, welcome again to your English class today. And today we are going to start with a new poem, that is Refugee Blues. Okay, and the writer, the poet is W.H. Auden. W.H. Auden, his full name is Wystan Hugh Auden. He was born in 1907 and died in 1973. Now he was an English American poet. So he belonged to America, he was an American poet. A very good playwright, that means he used to write dramas and all, he has written many dramas. And a very good critic, he used to he used to criticize the other writers also. Whenever he never used to like the ideas, he used to criticize. And a very good lyricist, that means he has written very good songs also. And this is one of the song only, blues. Blues means song and sad song, not a very cheerful or delighted song, but a sad song. So blues, sad song. Now these type of songs, blues, these songs were sung by the African American, the people, the black people which you see in America. They are also American, and they were actually brought from Africa as laborers, and they used to work for these white people, and then they remained there only, and many of them they must have migrated, but few of them they remained there, and that is why you still find such people in America. So they are called African American people there. Okay, and these people, they are still facing the discrimination in America. You must have recently heard about one of the news. When an African American, he was killed. One policeman, he was putting his leg on his neck, and he pressed so hard that he died. And the people, they were on the street, speaking against these English people. So still, these people, they are suffering that discrimination. They are facing that discrimination, and it is all because of that discrimination that whenever they are singing a sad song, they call it blues. Okay, so this is a sad song, blues. And refugee, who is refugee? Refugee is a person who takes shelter in other country. Okay, like due to some reason they have to flee from their own country. They cannot stay in their own country, and they take shelter in other countries. That means they take refuge in other countries. So they are called refugees. Those people who take refuge, they are called refugees. So this song is about refugee blues. Blues is a sad song. So a song sung by a refugee, a sad song sung by a refugee. Okay, so it is all about that. Now, W.H. Auden, you know about him that he was also an English American poet. He was a very good playwright. He wrote nice dramas and all. A very good critic also, and a very good lyricist. So one of the songs which I am going to read just now. Now his poetry were all concerned to the politics, religion, and love. Okay. Now emigrated. Now before the Second World War broke, he had already emigrated to United States. So that means he was there in the United States at that time. And he also won Pulitzer Prize, the highest prize award given to the writers. And in 1948, he got Pulitzer Prize for the same book. This poem is being adapted from somewhere. So for this he has already received Pulitzer Prize in 1948, though he had written in 1939. Long back he had written, but in 1948 this poem got the recognition. Now students, before we start the explanation or reading of a poem, let me just tell you something about refugee blues. Now this actually it's a poem, and it explains about, or it talks about the traumas of the German Jewish. These were the people who suffered a lot, and just because of that this poem is being written. Okay, so actually what happened, when during the First World War Germany lost, and in the Second World War, by the time of Second World War, Hitler became the head. He became the chancellor, and he overtook that country. Otherwise, in the beginning, he was just a simple army person, and he used to take messages from one place to another, and slowly, and he was actually a very good orator. So, with the passage of time, he promotions and all, ultimately he became the chancellor, and he took over the rule. And Hitler, you must be knowing about Hitler. And when you come in the 9th standard, you will be reading about him. The whole chapter is there about him. Now, actually, Hitler, when he was very small, he suffered a lot. His mother was a German, whereas his father was a Jewish. Okay, actually, yes, he was Jewish. And when he was very small, he was being beaten by his father. Things were not good at home. He suffered a lot as a child. And it was that reason that, and whenever he used to go, like any of the Jews, they only used to give some sort of tensions to him. And that, because of that, and even the mother, like she also suffered a lot. So this child, as a child, he used to see all these things suffering when he was child, and that is the thing that he became against these Jewish. And when he grew up, okay, he had seen like a lot in his life, and when he became the chancellor, he had that hatred towards these Jewish people. And what he used to do, he used to gas those people and kill. And even the people like the other people who were just crippled, or they were not able to walk properly, or old people, they were taken on a great height and thrown away from there. So they were killed. So he used to do all these things. And this story is also telling us, it's a picture, it is telling us the shadow of those days. So we'll see in this poem. So let us read this poem. Just do a reading. So read a poem that talks of the traumas of the German Jewish refugees during the Second World War. And this happened during the Second World War. Now the non-Jewish, what they had to do, actually they were the people who were against Jewish. And these Jewish, they used to stay somewhere in the hideouts, some place where they could not be seen by these people, otherwise they used to suffer a lot. Say this city has 10, now this poem is, the narrator is speaking to his companion, okay, so let us read. Say this city has 10 million souls, some are living in mansions, some are living in holes. Yet there is no place for us, my dear, yet there is no place for us. Now in the third line you will see the repetition. Okay, yet there is no place for us, my dear, yet there is no place. So yet there is no place is being repeated twice. So it is repetition here. Once we had a country and we thought it fair. Look in the atlas and you will find it there. We cannot go there now, my dear, we cannot go there now. In the village churchyard, there grows an old yew. Every spring it blossoms anew. Old passports can't do that, my dear. Old passports can't do that now. The consul banged the table and said, if you've got no passport, you're officially dead. But we are still alive, my dear. But we are still alive. Went to a committee, they offered me a chair. Asked me politely to return next year. But where shall we go today, my dear? But where shall we go today? Came to a public meeting, the speaker got up and said, if we let them in, they will steal our daily bread. He was talking of you and me, my dear. He was talking of you and me. So with this, on page number 84, let me explain you line-wise. Now in the first paragraph, the narrator is saying, say this city has 10 million souls. Now he's saying that this city has so many people. Souls means so many people are there living. Some are living in mansions. Mansions are very huge, big houses, beautiful big houses. Some are living in holes. Now some people they are living in big houses, whereas some people are living in holes, means like huts or very filthy places. Yet there is no place for us, my dear. Yet there is no place. So many people are living, and some are living in big houses, some are living in small houses, but still, the narrator is saying to his companion that we don't have any place, my dear. we don't have any place. Once we had a country and we thought it fair. So he's talking to his companion or maybe wife that once we had a country and we thought that it is a good place to live in. Look in the atlas and you will find it there. Yet, if you look at the atlas, you will find that place is there. But still, we have no place for ourselves. We cannot go there now, my dear. We cannot go there now. So he's saying that, my dear, we cannot go now. To that place, we cannot go now. In the village churchyard, there grows an old yew. So he's saying that in the old village churchyard, an old tree, it's growing there. Every spring it blossoms anew, and every spring, when the season changes, what happens? It gets new leaves, new flowers, they bloom. Old passports can't do that, my dear. Old passports cannot do that. So he's saying that even the tree gets new branches, new flowers, new leaves, everything. But the old passport, it says that we cannot renew that passport. No, that passport can't do anything. The consul banged the table and said, now who is the consul? Consul is the person who is, he is acting as their representative in another country. So he is saying that he banged the table, and why he's banged? Because he's frustrated. He is tired of seeing these people. He's not liking the stage that these people are going through. So, if you've got no passport, you're officially dead. He said that if you don't have any passport, I can't do anything. You are officially dead and you cannot go to that place. But we are still alive, my dear, but we are still alive. He's saying, but we are still alive. Went to a committee, they offered me a chair. Asked me politely to return next year. Now, when he went to the committee for the help that they wanted to go to their own country, he said, no, I can't. We can't help you today. It's better you come next year. Next year we'll see. But then he says, but where shall we go today, my dear? Where shall we go today? He's saying, but today, where to go? After 1 year, they'll have to stay somewhere, no? So, where to stay? Came to a public meeting, the speaker got up and said, he said, and then he went to any public meeting, and then the speaker said, what he said? If we let them in, they will steal our daily bread. And if we are going to let them inside our country, in our place, if we allow them to stay here, they are going to steal our daily bread. Means they won't leave anything, they are just going to rob us. He was talking of you, my dear, you and me, my dear. He was talking of you and me. So he's telling his companion that, do you know, my dear, that man, he was talking of you and me, that nobody else, it is you and me who are going to rob them. So let's read the poem on page number 85 and then we'll do our explanation. Saw a poodle in a jacket fastened with a pin. Saw a door opened and a cat let in. But they weren't German Jews, my dear, but they weren't German Jews. Went down the harbour and stood upon quay. Now see, Q-U-A-E, you can see the pronunciation in the yellow box. It's written that you have to pronounce it quay, not quay. So it is quay. Saw the fish swimming as if they were free. Only 10 feet away, my dear, only 10 feet away. Walked through a wood, saw the birds in the trees. They had no partitions and sang at their ease. They weren't the human race, my dear, they weren't the human race. Dreamed I saw a building with 1,000 floors, 1,000 windows and 1,000 doors. Not one of them was ours, my dear, not one of them was ours. Stood on a great plain in the falling snow. 10,000 soldiers marched to and fro. To and fro means here and there. Looking for you and me, my dear. Looking for you and me. Now let's start with the explanation. Saw a poodle in a jacket fastened with a pin. Poodle, you must have seen people nowadays, sort of a toy or a small dog, cat, pinned here at the jacket and then they just move around. So he saw that. Saw a door open and a cat let in. That means even the toys, even these small dogs, cats, animals, even they were given so much of respect that they were allowed to get inside their houses. So saw a door opened and a cat let in. Even a cat was allowed to enter the door. But they weren't German Jews, my dear, but they weren't German Jews. And why they were allowed to enter the door? Because they were not German Jews. They were the other people, non-Germans. And whereas the German people, they were not allowed, the Jews, they were not allowed to enter any place of residing. Went down the harbour and stood upon the quay. So what happened? Once he also went down the harbour. Now harbor is the place where the ships they come and they load and unload at that place and then they move around. So that is the harbour. He went there once and he stood there, and what he saw? He saw something. Saw the fish swimming as if they were free. And there he saw that the fishes, big and small, they were swimming very nicely, freely, They were allowed to go anywhere. They could go anywhere. So he saw that the fishes, they were swimming there freely. Whereas only 10 feet away, my dear, only 10 feet away. And see the distance, It was just 10 feet away. 10 feet away, it was freedom all over. The fishes were allowed to move freely. Whereas 10 feet this side, he was in the shackles of these people, non-Germans. Walked through the wood, saw the birds in the trees, and then next, the narrator is saying that he went to the wood. Wood is a jungle, okay, where the trees in the forest. Walked through the wood, saw the birds in the trees. So he saw the birds, the nature, residing freely. The birds, the animals, they were free there. They had no politicians and sang at their ease. And why they were free? Because they did not have any politicians on their head, okay, sitting there and governing them. No. And that is why they were singing at their ease, chirping and hopping here and there. They weren't the human race, my dear. They weren't the human race. And they were birds and animals. They were not humans. That is why they were free. Whereas the humans, the Jews, the German Jews, they were not free. They were not free to move here and there. Dreamed I saw a building with 1,000 floors. And then when he slept, he had a dream. And what was that dream? That he saw a huge building with 1,000 doors and 1,000 windows. See, hyperbole is here. He's exaggerating by uttering the word 1,000, again and again. 1,000 floors, 1,000 windows, and 1,000 doors. Not one of them was ours, my dear. Not one of them was ours. So again, he's very sad, and he's saying that when he dreamt, he saw thousands of doors and thousands of windows in such huge buildings, but not a single door or window belonged to these people, where they could go inside and reside. Stood on a great plain in the falling snow. 10,000 soldiers marched to and fro. Now the weather conditions were not good. Even the snow was falling, and that too, in that weather also, the army people, they were marching to and fro. They were marching here and there. And why they were marching? Looking for you and me, my dear. Looking for you and me. So these army persons, they were marching here and there. And why they were marching? Because they were looking for the German Jews. They wanted them to catch hold of them and put them to death. So this is the end of the poem. I hope you love this poem, and now we'll start with our questions and answers.